Welcome to the second annual DreamlandXR event, partnered with CES. This is the first one that is entirely virtual. And welcome to the Virtual Worlds panel. Very excited to be having a great conversation with our all-star panel here. I'm going to allow everyone to introduce themselves and tell me a little bit about what you do, your company, and then, end it with a quick fun fact as well, please. So, Christina.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christina, and I'm the CEO of Metastage. Metastage is a studio based in Los Angeles, California, that specializes in volumetric video, volumetric capture, holograms, if you want to call it that. We launched in 2018, and we have contributed to over, we've done, I think, over 100 productions since we launched, and primarily augmented reality, lots of AR for phone-based activations. We've been lucky enough to do some for the high-end headsets like, HoloLens and Magic Leap, and then also some VR as well. We use the Microsoft mixed reality capture technology stack, and we had the privilege of being the first North American partner to commercialize that technology that Microsoft has been developing for the last 10 years. So I'm all about taking really interesting technology, really good technology that's been developed by amazingly smart people, and then helping creators put it to use in practical applications, creative applications, useful applications. And then I also have a little hobby, a little club that is a totally non-commercial fun initiative that I started it was like a year and a half ago now, called XR Social Club. We meet on Wednesday nights, typically in VR chat, although we also do Altspace and Rec Room. And really the idea with XR Social Club was just when the Quest 1 came out, I just didn't want people to buy a Quest and then put it on the shelf and never use it. I was like, come on, let's start doing social VR and let's do it together. Now, I mean, look at this. We're doing this whole conference in VR. So it's come so far, but we still love meeting because we have a great little group. So anyone's welcome to join us, and you can find XR Social Club on Facebook or on Discord, and that's typically where we discuss and plan our meetups. Fun fact. I didn't know that one was coming.
That was the intention.
Okay. All right. So, I think it's always kind of interesting to find out, where people come from. I'm a CEO of a technology company, but I didn't always do that. When I was in my 20s, I actually I did elder care for 2 years. I took care of an old lady in Pasadena for 2 years as a side job while I was working on my documentary work. I was an independent documentary filmmaker, so I had took care of an old lady as a side job, which I think was really an interesting thing to be able to do. I feel like I'm more prepared for end of life having taken care of somebody at that stage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, my name's Greg Edwards. I run Big Sky VR. I do virtual world building. Been doing VR for the past 6 years. Worked with Coachella for a couple years. Just recently worked with BRCvr and did the Burning Man project. Been doing augmented reality for years along with that. I'm mostly focused on filling the need of connecting people with that nostalgic feel of building spaces that are bringing people comfort in the time of COVID. I love the idea of these headsets that are just working so great as far as the mobile aspect, and now that the fact that VR has finally had its moment, rather than everybody trying to bring everybody one at a time into headsets and all these conferences. This is great that this is CES and it's bringing people into VR rather than these events bring VR to the people. Fun fact. One of my first VR projects, I think not sure it was a felony, but to do a project with Coachella, I ended up renting a helicopter to get aerial footage of a project I hadn't been approved to do yet, and flying a rented helicopter over Coachella to do VR for them and to pitch them that project. So I broke several laws in the early part of my career to do VR because I was that passionate about it. So yeah, that's my fun fact.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
If you're not breaking some laws, I mean, what's the point, right?
Exactly. You got to break. You want to make an
VR.
omelet? You got to break some eggs.
Those are fun
That's
laws.
awesome.
to break.
Right, exactly. The ones that don't make people cry.
That's right.
Hi everyone, I'm Katie / Keegan in Altspace. I'm the program owner of Altspace VR, so I lead the Altspace team at Microsoft. I was part of the acquisition, so I've been with Altspace for about 5 years now, and it has been by far the most extraordinary journey that I've ever been on. I feel incredibly lucky to say that I love my job. Every day I get to wake up, and this is what I get to do for my day. And I've just been so amazed and just humbled by all the work that people like Greg and Chicken Waffles and Leila and everybody doing, and even Christina working with HoloCapture, which is also part of our group in mixed reality. We've seen so many things under the mixed reality umbrella of Microsoft really starting to show up more. So I'm really excited to be here. And Altspace in general, our main goal has been to, especially during COVID, but in general, that when you take off your headset after being in Altspace, you feel like your time was valuable, that you got something out of it. And that was kind of the initial like hope. And then I think we became an events platform because one of the better ways to get strangers to interact in the real world? It's to give people a reason to come together around a common topic, around something you care about. And so we've really leaned into this idea of how do you make awesome events happen to create an awesome social community, but also give people the chance to make friends. And I don't know about anybody else, but that's not really something they taught you in school, and it's really hard to do later in life. So I'm hoping that a place like Altspace has introduced you to awesome people. And I mean, there's friends that I have on the stage that I've never met in real life that I feel very grateful about knowing. A fun fact, oh, I've had so many lives. I think one that people find interesting is that I lead a product team at Microsoft. I manage engineers and artists and designers. My background, though, is I was a copywriter. I worked in marketing. If you ever saw those kind of terrible / hopefully not terrible Hershey ads of York peppermint patty, of somebody eating York peppermint patties and like their eyes exploding and like dilating and like goosebumps, I wrote that. I was like 22 at the time, and I got to go to LA for the first time and like cast for this commercial. And then the poor woman though that did the York peppermint patty commercial, she ate around like 130 York peppermint patties. We had a spit bucket like set up. And I always look back at that going, wow, like we made that into something that enticed people to eat these when I can never eat another York peppermint patty because of it. That's my fun fact. Thank you for having me here today. I'm excited to be on the panel.
That's awesome. So hey, I'm Finn. Finn Staber from Chicken Waffle. We made these fun new worlds that you're experiencing. Chicken Waffle is a game development studio in Austin, Texas. We do a lot of AR and VR, mixed reality content, as well as traditional games as my background. But we've been focusing on, just kind of all different directions. We've found that there's a lot of different industries getting into this. Kind of like early on, I was early in the web development era, and I remember everybody coming into the space and trying to find how they plug into it, and we're seeing that here. So that's a big focus of ours is bringing these tertiary industries into VR. We've worked with I guess 40. We've done 49 like experiences and games from third-party clients and partners from huge Fortune 500 companies, big companies like Nickelodeon and other big products, and Red Bull and all these large companies. And as well, and then we've had our own handful of award-winning content of our own, which is Baby Hands. It's a virtual reality baby simulator. You're crawling around. It's like super goofy Rugrats-esque kind of 90s baby with a bunch of like hundreds of retro parodies and Easter eggs and hidden achievements and mini games and stuff. It's really funny. And then we just launched a game that's completely in the other end of the VR spectrum called Shadow of Valhalla. It's a virtual reality Viking combat game. It's got a super gore. I mean, you're chopping through orcs and warlocks and all kinds of wraiths and really cool stuff, dragons, and have magic, and it's really fun. We emulate as close as we can to the Half-Life Alyx controls and movement and interactivity, and but in a Viking era combat, and it's really cool. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, our main goal for this event was to, essentially build a world that helped tell the story, tell the narrative to potential partners and other industries trying to bring their their companies to space. We are a premium content development studio, so of course we hope it would drum up some business, but also that's kind of my motif. I run the Austin Unity developer group as well as the AR/VR tools and tech group, and those events have always been focused. I've been running them for like 5 years now, I guess. And those events have always been kind of focused around, developer workshops and deep dives into the VR tech and stuff like that and the cutting edge technology. So that's really where my passion lies, is to nerd out on high tech stuff and build cool, fun experiences. I have an amazing team here. So kudos to the team, really, who's just been killing it. They are not working tomorrow. And fun fact, I was in another life, I was a U.S. soldier, the U.S. Army, and I went to war a couple times and got to travel the world several times, and unscathed. Got to never had to aim my weapon at another human being, which is pretty awesome. I was usually the first person in, and so I felt it was my responsibility to be cool and smile at people and finger guns, pew pew. So I never once had to show any signs of aggression to anybody. So I felt like diplomatic in that sense, and pretty lucky in my experiences. But yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for the soapbox.
Awesome. Well, fantastic. My name is Leila Amirsadeghi. I am the CEO of Mesh, an XR consultancy and production company developing immersive experiences both in the real world and recently in the virtual world. I've been fortunate enough to play and participate with the BRCvr team and on that project, which was a mind-blowing experience, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it significantly in this panel. And most recently, our team has been involved in the mixed reality music video for Pitbull here in Altspace, and we actually produced a VR red carpet premiere event for Baobab Studios and Baba Yaga this week as well. So very, very grateful. Like Katie, I love my job. I love my work. I love my life. It's pretty cool to for us to be in a pandemic and be sitting so close to one another, be in rooms together, be able to connect socially. I think it's unfortunately, as a result of something negative, I think we've seen a lot of positive in our industry. So that's very exciting. Random fact that's going to bring on a ton of questions later, so I'm going to probably exit fast, is well, I mean, so a long time ago, I accidentally ended up in the British Army. It was momentary, and it is a longer story than this, but it all started out with just wanting to do an obstacle course or an assault course, and really went on a journey for a year-long journey trying to actually do one of these things. And next thing you know, I joined the cadet force, and I'm at Sandhurst, and then I had a wake-up call. So
wow.
That's the all right.
I thought that was a waiver I signed.
Yeah, exactly. No waivers back then. Oh, wait, did you all sign a waiver before coming here today? So anyway, excited to have you on this panel. I mean, couldn't be a better location to talk about virtual worlds than a virtual world itself, Altspace. So, it's been, I mean, think about it, Second Life, 2003, I believe. So fast forward 20 years, and let's go back to last year in a pandemic coming into play, taking away our ability to connect, our ability to experience entertainment. And we've seen a lot of innovation since, everything from video innovation to 2D to gaming platforms becoming event spaces, whether it's Minecraft or Fortnite. And the exciting news, I think, for everyone here at least, is that we've seen an increase in awareness and adoption when it comes to consumer VR and the use of it. And events like BRCvr have really brought that into the forefront of the consumer mind. And we're seeing a lot more social VR platforms like VR Chat, like Rec Room, like Altspace, and to bring together community and social connection. So the first question I have, which is for all of you, is, what experiences have wowed you this past year and why? Feel free to jump in, or I can tag you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as you already referred to, the Burning Man VR event was groundbreaking. I mean, how many of you guys out in the audience went to it? Did raise your hand if you went to the Burning Man this year? Yeah. So I mean, I'd
so
been to
cool.
Burning Man 3 times myself, and it had been a few years since I had been back to the playa. I had no plans to go last year anyway, so it was just so cool to be able to. It's kind of like the marriage of things I think we all love, right? VR, Burning Man comes together, and actually, you guys executed it at such a high level that it did, at least pay homage to the experience of being there in real life. And so, for me, if I look back, I think that just would probably be number 1 on my top 10 list of big VR events in the past year.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I guess I could tack on a little bit of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, how it was all built was really keyed into solving the problem of not just building a festival but having the people that go to the festival. That's well, it's hard to call it a festival, but it's the Burning Man experience is the community needs to have a big part in the construction, because that's just how that festival happens. So it couldn't just be 1 or 2 people building it. It had to be a couple of people guiding the entire community on how to build the experience they always wanted and how to express themselves. So that's just in general, Altspace in general has blown me away. Just how well curated the entire community is and how helpful that is. So there wouldn't have been that if it wasn't for Altspace and the entire team. So I'm taking it for that and just broadening it out a little bit bigger, because it was a much bigger endeavor.
That was really amazing.
And the groundwork was already
there. How amazing the Burning Man experience was, because I met Greg, it was like, I don't know, spring of last year, and I accidentally went into the Burning Man world, and I've also been to Burning Man five years in a row, and it's just it's a place where I just feel incredibly authentic and happy, and it's just the whole culture around it is just something that's very dear to me. And I went in there and I immediately started crying, and I just couldn't believe that that somebody had spent the time to build this. And then I went to our mixed reality head of mixed reality, Alex Kipman, and I showed him, and he's also been to Burning Man, and we just looked at each other and we're like, do we want to do this? Like, this is going to be a lot of work and a lot of effort, but it was always about trying to be true to the Burning Man culture. And so when we agreed to that, it wasn't like, oh, this is gonna be a great marketing employee for Altspace. It was more like, how, if we can do something to save the culture of Burning Man along with the awesome other apps that also participated, that's what we wanted to do. But then just by offering a little bit of help, you and Leila and so many people from the BRCvr team got other people excited about building. So it became something that there's no way we could have helped you do that. That was just like community gumption using tools that I will admit are not easy to use. And I went to bed, I think at, I don't know, 5 a.m. on the Friday night of that weekend. And I crawled into bed and I'm like, I've been to Burning Man. Like, I felt like there was dust in my boots. And it's not just, if you don't know Burning Man, that's not the part to leave out. I'm hoping that you feel a little bit maybe from interacting with people, it's just it's because of the people. Like, we can do as much as we want to build anything, but it's the interaction of finding your community and then laughing your butt off at some, like, I don't know, I think it was a porta party. And then and it was the people that I met through that. Like, that I think is the magic and what I got this past year. So yes, 100%.
And it didn't really smell like porta potty, so that's a plus. That's a plus.
If it did, you had problems.
The Burning Man, I would say, is also, I mean, as far as a social element, it's what also helped us decide that this was a viable platform for hosting CES was the attendance. It was proven. Finally, a platform gathered the attendance and the multi-room execution of a real event. You know what I mean? And that was a big turning point, I think, for maybe community is not even the right word. It's more like a VR populace. You know what I mean? Of the people that are getting into the space, because it's really a movement, you know, and that was just really awesome. One of my artists here at Chicken Waffle is actually one of the sculptors that often designs and builds the stages as well as art that goes into Burning Man and then gets totally destroyed every year. And she was, really distraught that basically her art exhibit got canned. And so whenever the Burning Man 3D, opportunity came up, she was like, I really want to be a part of this. She's a graphics designer, but also a tangible artist and painter and sculptor. And so we had all these brainstorms and stuff. And so something we're planning to bring to the next year to the community and bring up this platform that we've been developing it's essentially a user-generated content platform for pulling a lot of this content and sharing and stuff. And so for what we've seen is like things like with, the asset store is really good for building stuff for, these video games and stuff. But what we wanted to set out as a vertical for XR Swim, which is this XR platform that we built. XR Swim has web XR content and, AR content and everything. Our plan is to build, especially with, I know there's going to be a thriving team coming back into the Burning Man 2021 process. So we set out to build a platform by which artists can deliver their content to the builders. So it's a way of submitting that, so essentially all the artists and all these creative people that want to build the Burning Man art, but aren't necessarily the world builders, but they want their stuff in La Playa, that ability to have a pipeline and pull from and give credit to the artists, I think is a really interesting thing. And it just, we just announced that for the first time. That's happening.
So exciting. So exciting.
So it'll be an easy user experience for these artists to be able to bring this content and place it, put it into AR, look at it, submit it to the VR worlds. So people like Greg and people like Leila and her team and people like me, I'm planning on building a Playa too, or not a Playa, but like one of the somethings. I don't know what I'm going to build yet. It's kind of up to the community. And that's what's beautiful about Burning Man,
And what I love about that, and all of us just being on stage too, I think it says that VR is a place for a lot of creative thinking and a lot of just anybody that's interested. If you're listening in the audience, there's so many ways to get involved, whether you're a high-end developer, you're part of a big team. And so I get a lot of excitement out of how scrappy and close the VR community is, because I think we're still in a place of wanting to support each other. And I love that, at least with Altspace, the spark was Burning Man, because it's all about that. It's all about coming together, not for monetary value, but for supporting each other, supporting art. And so, yeah, if that's something that is a spark for VR, I think we're in a really good industry.
Awesome.
Agreed.
Quick mic check. I've been told that I'm garbled. Am I garbled?
Yeah,
you're a little bit.
Re-enter.
Ooh. All right.
So I can talk a little bit more while she's jumping in. The goal in my mind for virtual worlds, like whenever Leila brought this up, was, in Burning Man, it was this finally it's proven. This is the platform we can do big events in. But then part of building a big event and having a professional team, we're an indie studio, but we still need to make that money. You know what I mean? And so part of that is for a normal event, a big part of where DreamlandXR gets its money every year is from sponsors, whether it's the branding sponsor or a liquor sponsor or giving them free drinks or a space sponsor hosting them at the thing. And so those are these places that understand that these eyes of real people coming into their location, real people drinking their libations, real people seeing the water bottle or the energy drink or the big signage, and they're going to have this many people flow through it. They understand that that there's a value there in reality, and those budgets still exist, but they're not really sure where to spend them. And so a big part of what our goal for CES, building this virtual CES, was to help educate potential clients and partners for us, of course, but also just educate the community and other branches of whether they're an executive event or something trying to line up, like how do they build something that provides opportunity for branding, logos, sponsorship, and they see the return, and so we tried to create something, luckily with some really cool partners, to show the ability to bring tangible marketing and sponsorship into the virtual world.
Awesome. Before I disappeared there, I did want to just give a kudos to the BRCvr team. There's a lot of them here right now, and given how much consistency in the answer there, so you guys rule. Christina, XR Social Club. So like you said, you started it in 2019. That was a pre-COVID. One of the impetus was sort of everyone having this headset. Well, not everyone, but in our community getting a headset and doing something with it. What have you seen transpire? What are some of the, I guess, wow moments or things that give you goosebumps?
Yeah. And I will say, I like a little love to VR chat. I don't know if any of you like VR chat out there, but I do. And I like Altspace as well. I will say that Altspace has proven far superior for large events. But, when we first launched XR Social Club in 2019, a good turnout was like 6 people. We were like, oh, wow, lots of people tonight. Wow. And now we're at the point where we're actually having trouble because we're capping out at what our VR chat clubhouse can handle. So, like I said, initially I just got tired of XR enthusiasts and the XR professionals in our community getting headsets, talking a big game at conferences and panels, but then just sort of putting their headset on the shelf and not really engaging with it. And I always felt that like the promise of VR was social. And so the Quest was like that moment where I was like, we don't have an excuse anymore. It's time to start doing it. But I thought about it and I was like, well, it's not that dissimilar to a real life event. Someone needs to host it. You don't just go out into the world and wander around and go like, hey, will you be my friend? Will you be my friend? Do you want to talk to me? No, it's like somebody,
well, y'all don't do
like,
that?
unless you're at Burning Man, unless you're at Burning Man. Otherwise, usually it's like somebody somebody you like, somebody you trust says, hey, let's meet up at this bar tonight, or let's go out on Saturday night. So I realized that there needed to be a host, and like, if not me, then who? So I just kind of made myself this host and just said, hey, I'm going to be in VR chat it started off in Rec Room, actually. I'm going to be in Rec Room at 6 p.m. Would love to see any of you. Feel free to join. And then I kept doing that week in, week out. And then eventually we wanted to have our own clubhouse. So we built a custom clubhouse in VR chat. And then COVID, and we were getting like good turnout and good responses. I was hearing from some people that it kind of renewed their love for VR because, we had gone through a pretty rough period in 2018 was a really tough year for VR. And so a lot of people had started to like bounce and move to cryptocurrency and had those like we're ready to hang up the headsets for good. And then all of a sudden we started hanging out and playing like children in these spaces together. And they were like, oh, this has renewed my love for social VR. So anyway, I know I don't want to take up too much time, but then COVID hit and all of a sudden it was like, oh, this isn't just an experiment anymore. This is actually providing like a service like for people right now, because a lot of people are isolated, and it really took on a new meaning for everybody who attended. I actually feel like these are real friends of mine now, because it's like a lot of the same people that show up week in, week out. So I do have to figure out, we are actually thinking about making a similar clubhouse now in Altspace as well, so that we can accommodate bigger groups, because we are having some issues in VR chat with that. But I will say, last piece on this is, one of the things I do love about VR chat is just how many worlds there are. Like there's so many crazy worlds there, and I do love that you can be a ridiculous avatar. It's just, there's something so fun about that. So
that's actually,
anyway.
I was going to bring that up. So the sort of, VR chat does allow for that. It allows you to do cosplay. But do you feel that could break the connection a little bit. I mean, I have to say that I never thought that, talking to another cartoon avatar would allow for deep connection between people. But we've seen it here in Altspace. And so I'm just curious, and I'll put this to Katie a little bit. I mean, in sort of the evolution of where you're taking things, there needs to be this sort of fifth wall. What are you, what are your thoughts around, avatar realism versus allowing people to just be whatever they want to be?
I think honestly, whenever somebody talks to me about like, is there going to be a social VR app to rule them all? I think that's ridiculous. And I think that VR chat, even for many people on our team, through COVID, have used VR chat for a lot of their social interactions and friendships. And I feel like there's room for all of us. We're doing different things. Like we're not competing with VR chat. Like we might go there for some similar reasons, but like we have a couple principles that we try to follow. The reason we have really simple avatars, or fairly simple avatars that we hope you can customize in many ways, is that we really want you to feel welcome when you come here. We want it to feel simple and inviting. I think VR chat, you're not going for simple and inviting, you're going for stimulation and excitement and many ways that you want to make friends, or all the different reasons that you go into different apps. Rec room, awesome. Go and play games. We're not going to have amazing paintball, but we will maybe have an awesome conversation about paintball tactics. So I really think that hopefully the metaverse or the multiverse includes all those places. So then I can focus on my problem that I'm trying to solve, and not all of them. So when it comes to avatars, are we opposed to ever having variations on humans? No. But is starting human really important? Yes. Just to give people kind of a more grounded experience when you come into here. And also, I think at the same time, though, you run into some issues with human, especially for harassment, or if people want to be a little bit more not themselves. I think we always need to keep that in mind, which is one reason that we offer like different colors. And it was really important to me, especially as a queer woman and an advocate for the LGBT community, is that you could choose pieces to represent your gender. It wasn't that you had to pick a gender and then represent pieces that fit into it. So that was one piece. And then working really closely with diverse groups, which we have a hell of a way to go to make our system more diverse and more inviting, but we're trying to do it right from the beginning and getting a lot of feedback about how to make people feel like they can be their authentic self, whatever that's going to be. So that's some of the thought behind avatars, but super excited about VR chat. I want to come and see your clubhouse there. But yeah.
Yeah, that's what I like about Altspace is you said the right term, is that Altspace makes me, at least, and I've met other people that I feel like this is the same, like talking to Katie, talking to Leila, talking to Greg, they feel like they are representing their authentic self, and I am here to represent my authentic self. I just gave you a real spiel about my industry standing, like versus VR chat, the excitement, that you're talking about, it's kind of, I prelude it to showing up to a conference for business networking versus showing up to a conference to cosplay. They're both are really great reasons to go to a conference. And if you're in cosplay, if you're Deadpool especially, you're going to be zany, right? You're zany. You get to not be you. And I think that's what some people get to have, that escapism. And sometimes it boils over into some toxic display of their personality. But a lot of times it also is just funny and fun and energetic and lively and like, but then in that other side of the coin, Altspace, I feel real. I feel whenever I go to a failed to render comedy club, and I like on a Saturday night, I'll go into there, and they do it Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. And on Saturday night, especially, is like these headliner comedians, funny Comedy Central comedians, just hilarious. And I'll go in there and I'll laugh and drink and laugh, and I'll take my headset off after an hour or two of that, and it feels like I just walked in the door from going out to a comedy club. I really do. It feels like I was there. I feel like you were talking about Burning Man, but even more so than I just experienced it, I felt like I was there because I also had a conversation about something with somebody and told them my website, and then I look at my email and they've reached out through the website, and it's like I'm making and this is during CES, I've already connected with at least 100 people going back through the website, talking about what we're doing, making real CES like business decisions. or business connections that I would in real life. Like this has felt like CES. It feels like I went to Vegas for CES. That was our big goal.
Yes.
Like that's why we put the skyline back there and stuff.
Right.
Made it feel all gaudy like Vegas would do. Is that I wanted like that was the last major event that most people went to was CES 2019. Maybe I went to New York Toy Fair right after that, which is that was danger zone. But like I think the CES was the last major conference that a lot of people were able to attend, and my goal was like I want to feel that again. It was a lot of connection. It was a lot of fun. It actually does really great for people in my business. So I want I was like, how do we get this alive? How do we raise this? And it's definitely
I think you guys
a
have done
task.
an amazing job. I mean,
Yeah,
it is CES minus all the walking. I mean, that's the great part about it. Less walking.
Yeah, I was all like talking close to
all of it.
people, like getting all
And
up in
less
their
germs.
face. You know,
Just
it's
less
And
great,
less
yeah.
less germs.
Yeah.
That's right, less germs
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
And less money
yeah.
being spent too. That's always a good
My
thing.
dog's here with me. You know.
Yeah.
Travel,
So-
climate change.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we were just talking, I mean, Katie brought up a good point around, so these platforms aren't necessarily competitive. We are in a collaborative space. But we are seeing, I mean, I guess some level of competition maybe for audience. And when it comes to talent and artist integration into these experiences, you're seeing a variety of ways from green screen and volumetric to video and avatar and potentially non-player characters. So, one of the questions I have is like, what needs to happen to make this easier? I mean, Christina and Katie, you both, played with volumetric. We've seen Diplo in Altspace in a unique way. In VR chat over New Year's, we saw Jean-Michel Jarre in an experience, and then we've seen everything in between. So I'm curious from the group here, what are the things that are holding us back to making this experience a little easier and seamless and not requiring hundreds of thousands of dollars of production to do it?
Well, I want to give Greg an opportunity to chime in because I feel like we have been chatting a lot. Greg, do you have thoughts on
Yes.
that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
Agreed.
it's been back in like 2014, 15, trying to get people into VR was a one at a time thing at these kind of conferences, putting headsets on, and it was painful. And it's like I was, reluctant to get back into VR up to a year ago, but thanks, like, people like Doug and Athena getting, help bringing all that back together. But I think the whole core of it now is they will come if people are here, and that's why the VR is serving that need of, I miss my friends, I miss those beautiful places I used to go to. And one of the things like this platform and others is people can create the spaces they want to exist and they want to be in, and then they can bring their friends. It has to be a very grassroots thing to bring people in here and give people a reason, and then everybody's developing different tools and methods to build it. That's the only way. I thought Half-Life was going to be the big, to be honest, I thought Half-Life was going to be the big VR explosive game-changing experience. Never in a million years would it, be BRCvr, but it turned out to be that way because people came in and built the world that they want. And that's what has to keep on going is, people, artists, movie stars, comedians, they need to build their world. They need to come in and bring their art in. And then we as platform developers, 3D modelers, we have to help them one at a time, bring them in. So that, I think, is at least my trajectory, is just help the influencers come in.
We're starting to develop like good established pipelines for like doing innovative immersive work and bringing like volumetric video into social VR worlds or live volumetric into these worlds. But at the end of the day, you're still going to need developers and creators to like hack away at that pipeline and do the QC testing and make sure that it works on all the phones and all the devices, and that takes a lot of energy and resources. So like it's amazing that these projects get made, and at the end of the day, it's usually like it's like you got to bring together, almost like filmmaking, you got to bring together, you like get the sponsor, you get the technical team, you get the creative team. You know, you have to bring it all together so that you can make one amazing activation happen. And then, you know, you do that enough times, and now eventually there's a pipeline and an established workflow to do it well. And I think, so like, I'm excited because Metastage is working on a project right now where the destination is Altspace. It's our first one, actually, where like we're capturing content to be viewed in Altspace. And it's almost like I'm looking at like, why did it take so long? And I'm like, well, because it just does sometimes. So yeah, that's my piece on it.
That's a good point. Finn earlier brought up, you know, the sort of product integration, brand integration. How do you sort of invite them into the experience? I think that's an important conversation or thought to have. But I think more than ever, when we're seeing platforms like this, they're creator platforms. So how do we enable the creators to also make money off this? It's not just about the brands, and it's not just about the advertising.
It is probably one of the main focuses of Altspace right now over the next couple months. And I've talked about this. I do a program owner event in Altspace every month where we try to give an insight into what we're working on. But the main thing now is, how do we allow people to use our platform to also support themselves? So whether it's ticketing or it's easier tools so that people can come in here and run their own events, learning from people like Leila and Greg that are using our platform in the exact way that we're hoping people can. How do we learn from you to make the product even better? But definitely when it comes to ticketing, and I mean, if anybody has ever had to monetize an app that they're working on and add ticketing, like it's a whole hell of a lot of work. So right now we're trying to figure out like how do we do that in the right way so that performers can benefit.
So, you know, just to wrap up, we're coming to a close here. You know, I'd like to ask a question of each of you. You know, where do we go from here? I mean, Greg, you came from the real event world with Coachella. You were working on Coachella, though. With VR, I mean, you saw, you know, the physical festivals. COVID's taken away the physical right now, but they're coming back. There's a vaccine. Where does it go from there? Does this go away? Does the physical take over? Does it become hybrid? I'd love to hear from Greg and then everyone else.
Well, I think it's going to take a lot longer than just with COVID going away before live music and live events start coming back on stream. And I think that this is going to, you know, seem like, you know, streamline in. But I think there's this really interesting time right now where this is still the Wild West. This is still like just emerging, and there's so much opportunity for everybody involved to really just swing hard. And you just like, I'm a big fan of just like taking big risks and not knowing if it's going to work or not. And you know, it worked really well because we had wonderful people together building. But you know, I'm still in the mode of swinging big on things, and I think everybody here, and I think that's a great thing. Like everybody here in VR and in this space, they're all really just putting their heart into just swinging with big ideas and taking risks. Because now is the time that you take risks in the tech, and big dividends. So as far as where I think it's go, I like being blown away by all the you know, everything that I come in to see with Altspace and go, oh my God, I would never have thought of that, and that gets addictive. And it gets really addictive seeing that. And that's so every day is a different, you know, but this isn't going away anymore anytime soon, you know.
No, and jumping on that, I think your word hybrid is definitely what I see. You know, pre-COVID, you know, we used to do tours at Metastage, like in-person tours. And like all day, it was just like tour. And then now I can show you Metastage on Zoom. Like I've got pictures, I got videos. So it's not that I'll never do an in-person tour again, but I'm definitely going to do more Zoom mixed with in-person tours. And in the case of VR, you know, a lot, like it's just about kind of breaking people's normal habits. Like COVID kind of forced everybody to learn how to use Zoom and learn how to put on a headset and go into Altspace. And now that we've taught everybody how to do it, I think that when you look at like virtual, also I think that the events industry in general has been shook to the core by what's happened in the last, you know, year or so. And all of them, even though they know that in-person events will eventually come back, they realize that they need to have a virtual component to their live events, no matter what. And they'd be silly not just to have it as a backup plan should something like COVID stop. It's like, why not allow access to people around the world to your event? So I think that moving forward, I hope that when we look at CES next year, that there'll still be a virtual CES in tandem with the in-person event. And I think we'll start to see that with music festivals and art festivals too.
You can count on it.
Yeah, and to your point, I think it's more like, what problems are we trying to solve? Like right now, all of us have had our lives destroyed because of COVID. So there's many reasons to use this platform, but there's so many other use cases that hopefully this is showing people, getting more people aware of the tech, like you said. But like climate change, I remember the educators in VR group, if you haven't checked out their events, they're awesome. They did one of the earlier conferences here, and we looked to see how many like carbon emissions they had deleted from the planet just by having their conference in Altspace, and it's not insignificant. So I think whether it's climate change, whether it's loneliness in general, or whether it's like if you have a different ability and you're not able to travel around the world and go to a conference, that this is a place where hopefully you can meet up. Like there's so many justifiable reasons to have a virtual experience tied to our real life experience that I hope this just broadens people's imaginations to take advantage of it.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that's our goal. You know, personally, I love the idea of being able to connect with people. Typically, like in 2016, I was one of the co-founders of the WaveXR. I was a CTO and co-founder of that. Still part owner, but branched off to Chicken Waffle because I like games and had a great opportunity to hire a really amazing staff here. And when, you know, building these content curation platforms for events and experiences in social, I really love connecting with people, and I love being able to bring my content to people, and I also like engaging people's content with other people, you know. And so whenever we were talking about virtual worlds, you know, so of course building this, my goal was to bring people together and hopefully find, you know, clients also wanting to build their conferences and these things, as obviously we are the company to do that. That's the kind of what I was trying to sell with this big lift that we put on our shoulders. We just only got approached like Christmas to do this, and we built like 9 rooms. We have a cool comedy club debuting tonight in Fail to Render, and we have a nightclub performance tonight with cheat codes, and Celeste has her own nightclub. So we're building this like Vegas style experience, right? But we want to build more. And so one of our goals and where we see the future, I remember standing in 90-ish, you know, early internet days. I was like 8, and I was telling my dad's old friends, they were like standing around a truck drinking a beer next to the tailgate, you know what I mean? And I was like, someday every company will have a web page, every company. And they were like, what are you talking about? Like, why would UPS have a website? Like, why would they have this? You know? And so I remember thinking like, no, it will be everywhere. And that's going to be the same for the virtual realty. You know, there's going to be everything. And a big part of where we're going is smart glasses. You know, Chicken Waffle builds content, XR content, and we see the need for smart glasses, that extension of reality into the virtual realm. And so we've been building a lot of the content creation tools and storytelling for other people, like so educators and parents and, you know, teachers and other people can just take an experience, reskin it and redeliver it and share it through a link, and then other people can hit this. And so we've just recently stood up this amazing new project called Mirage Maker. And it's this new company called Mirage Maker that I'm working with these cool people from Hollywood with. And it's a augmented reality, it's a mixed reality storytelling platform. So the whole point is you can pull in all these different, I don't want to say cookie cutter, but essentially we're WordPressing the mixed reality experience, right? We want to be able to take content from Metastage and take content from other 3D artists, take the kind of content we talked about from Burning Man artists, and then deliver it to people to be able to tell a story with in an easy way that they don't have to necessarily be developers. We want to democratize that content creation pipeline, and so that's what we've set out with Mirage Maker, and we have some demos there, and that's why I put some like mixed reality headsets on our booth, because it's really cool to see this stuff in action and see people like experiencing this stuff. So I think wearables is just, you know, the smart glasses and stuff. I can't wait to throw my phone away. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna wear those glasses all the time. So thanks again for the soapbox.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, great panel. Thank you all. This has been fantastic. We are over time, but you know what? Why would I stop this conversation? Really quickly, how do they reach you? If anyone wants to reach you here, Christina.
You can find me. My email is christina@metastage.com.
Perfect.
I'm also just Christina Heller on most platforms, and then Metastage XR on Twitter and just Metastage on Instagram.
Excellent. Greg.
Greg E. Big Sky at Gmail. So Greg E. Big Sky Gmail.
Awesome. Katie.
If you're interested in anything Altspace, go to altspacevr.com and just go to the contact form. We'd love to hear from you if you need some support or you're thinking about your different events.
Yeah, and I'm Finn at Chicken Waffle, and just chickenwaffle.com. We are also giving away of custom Valve Index, a custom Quest, and a bunch of sweet alien hardware. So
Nice.
on our website, for anybody that signs up for a beta, and we'll send you free keys for a bunch of hand tracking and cool other crazy stuff to enter into our beta list there. So, and we're hiring. If you are a passionate wizard in this space, we would love to talk to you. We'd love to hear from you. We're growing our ranks, and we have an amazing flat hierarchy of creative professionals that really I enjoy surrounding myself with. So please reach out if you're that person. And thanks again, Leila. Really great job.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm Leila Connects. That's CNX, Leila CNX on most platforms. Thank you so much, you guys, and thanks for a great audience.